Join me now, the op-ed writer behind a hard-hitting editorial saying that Donald Trump is gaslighting America. And you might be surprised to hear where that editorial appears. It appears in TeenVogue.com. Here to discuss, award-winning journalist Lauren Duca, weekend editor for TeenVogue. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're on. I found this fascinating. You wrote an op-ed for TeenVogue.com that went so viral that it had legendary journalists like Dan Rather tweeting about it. It's called "Donald Trump is Gaslighting America." Can you explain what that is and why your op-ed struck such a nerve?
Sure. So gaslighting, it sounds like is a term that a lot of people didn't know. So gaslighting it's a form of psychological abuse where the victim is manipulated to doubt their own sanity. It's kind of a complex concept, but a good example comes from the play Gaslight.
Hey, Lauren.
Yeah.
Let me put, because you write this, and I hate to answer your own question.
Sure.
Let me put this up and then you can answer it.
Oh,
because
okay.
you said, here's what you write. You said, to gaslight is to psychologically manipulate a person to the point where they question their own sanity. And that's precisely what Donald Trump is doing to this country. He gained traction in the election by swearing off the lies of politicians while constantly contradicting himself, often without bothering to conceal the conflicts within his own sound bites. He lied to us over and over again, then took all accusations of his falsehoods and spun them into evidence of bias. At the hands of Trump, facts have become interchangeable with opinions, blinding us into arguing against ourselves as our very reality is called into question. Some people say this is just a new way. We're going to have to get used to Donald Trump doing things this way. It's a new era. I take it you disagree with that.
Yeah, I think that that's very scary to think of this as the new way. I think that people are not empowered enough with information. I think that means on several levels. I think that the media, but we need to focus more on original reporting, on painting portraits of events that are objective and that aren't just sort of streaming Donald Trump's dissemination of falsehoods directly into American homes without checking them in any way. On an individual level, I think that people need to realize that it is not only their right to have access to information, but it's in this state that we're in currently, it's their obligation to find trustworthy sources and to fact check everything, especially everything on Donald Trump's Twitter. Facts are the only place we can work from for any kind of resistance. And there's a lot of talk now about fighting for human rights and social justice, and that's absolutely the side I want to be on. But we can't do any of that unless we're moving from a place of truth.
I want to look at another example here, which you write about. On Friday night, the Trump transition team released this statement about President Obama ordering an investigation into Russian interference in the U.S. elections. These are the same people that said Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. The election ended a long time ago in one of the biggest electoral college victories in history. It's now time to move on and make America great again. Well, today, Trump tweeted this. He says, unless you catch hackers in the act, it is very hard to determine who was doing the hacking. Why wasn't this brought up before the election? Lauren, both the statement and the tweet are inaccurate. As you point out in your article, Trump didn't win in one of the biggest electoral college victories. It wasn't a landslide. Cyber experts say you can determine who is doing the hacking after the fact, and concerns about hacking were brought up long before the election. So explain what you think he is doing here.
Well, I think he's trying to turn facts into a partisan issue, which is, I'm a very liberal, very progressive person, and that's how I identify as a writer. But I was trying to come from a place where I was able to speak to everyone. I think that the victim here is the American public. And I think that a lot of the reason why Donald Trump won is because he divided this country. And if he's able to capitalize on that and force us to be arguing over what counts as facts, the CIA works for the American people. To have the CIA challenged as if they're some silly blogger that can be bullied and, thrown to the deplorables is absurd. The president of the United States should want to know if Russia is interfering in our election, right? And also, just there's so many sort of red herrings to take aim at there, like talking about Russia for the first time now. No, we talked about Russia in the first debate. The third debate was the no puppet sort of short-circuiting. In his last press conference, he was egging Russia on to hack Hillary's emails, so we're not talking about that for the first time. And then also, of course, this isn't the biggest electoral college victory in history. It takes a simple Google search to figure that out, but it's almost like these sort of distractions to divert our attention from the fact that the most powerful man, the soon-to-be most powerful man in the United States, is dismissing the evidence just demonstrated by the CIA, which is an incredible danger to American freedom. And we're sort of getting lost in semantics, and we're getting lost in these disputes about what is true, which is absurd because we should all be able to agree about what's true and then from there have ideological arguments.
Lauren Duca, it's fascinating. Fascinating that's in TeenVogue, but anyway, you got a lot of people talking. Your article went viral. Thank you so much. I appreciate you joining us here on CNN.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you.